Hello guys. So I want to ask you a question. Have you been praying and you are not seeing any result? Have you been fasting, praying for years and nothing is happening? It's like things are getting worse and worse and you feel like maybe God is against me. Maybe God does not love me. Maybe God have favorite. Maybe all kind of things you have been saying. So I'm here to tell you some of the things that we do that hinder our prayers. First, your mouth. Let me ask you, do you pray? Then when you finish praying, what do you do next? When you don't see any result, or when let me say, like, you finish praying, right, and somebody asks you, like, you are praying for your business to change, or maybe you are praying to get married, and somebody asks you, how are things after you finish praying? How are things? You say, no, like, this my sickness, I'm not sure. Your sickness, that's another problem. It is not your sickness. So you start saying, oh, this is my sin, I'm not sure that I'm going to get well. It has been long, maybe I should just accept it. Oh, this is my business, I'm not sure is going to make it. Things are not working, this country is so bad. Oh, my family, you start complaining after you have just finished praying. Auntie, sir, your tongue is rising against you. Yes, because there's power in our word. Listen, look what happened to Zachariah when the angel came to him and told him that you are going to have a son, blah, blah, blah. Zachariah said, how is this going to happen? Just the angel shut his mouth. He said, no, 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 no. It's like you are going to spoil my work for me. God has sent me to deliver a message, and you want, because there's power in our word. Because God has always said he's going to have a child. He needed to agree with God. Since he was doubting, God had to shut his mouth. What does that tell you? That there is power in our word. Because that word that God said, it has to come to pass. It has to come to pass. So, because Zachariah did not believe what God said, God has to close his mouth until that baby was born. Because he does not want any word that will hinder God's plan. So, there are things that you are doing, you don't know that they are hindering you. You say negative things about your own self. You say negative things about your marriage. You say negative things about your friends. You say negative things about others. Especially, forget about other, especially to yourself or to your situation. Stop saying negative things to your situation, because the devil will use that against you. Whatever thing that you say, the devil will make sure it manifests. So you are praying, and at the same time you are saying negative. 1 minute you are fasting, you are praying. As you leave the room, you start saying negative. You go to your friends that are unbelievers to get advice from them. What are they going to tell you? You guys will sit there talking about your situation, being depressed. There's nobody to encourage each other. Your tongue is rising against you. There's nobody that is because sometimes, mostly Africa, we say, oh, maybe it's a family curse, somebody is doing me, all kind of thing. Watch your word. Ask yourself that, what have I been saying over my life? Have I been saying any negative things about myself? Sit back and ask yourself this question. What have I been saying to myself? Have I been blessing myself, or have I been cursing myself? Is my tongue rising against me? Am I an enemy to my own self? Ask yourself that question. Your word. First of all, watch your word. Second thing that might be hinder your prayer from working, right, is unbelief. Let's read James chapter 1 verse 5. If you need wisdom, ask our generous God, and he will give it to you. He will not rebuke you from asking. He said, whatever thing that you need, ask from God. Is it wisdom for your business? Ask from God, and he is going to give it to you. Whatever your case might be, from God. Is it healing? Ask from God. Then the next verse. But when you ask, be sure that your faith is in God alone. Let me tell you one thing. You might be asking God, God, practical example. You might be somebody in Cameroon might be asking God, I want to go to America, I want to go to Europe. God, make a way for me. Ask God. Then you don't allow God to make sure that thing come to pass. We ask God and we go and answer the prayer by our own self. What we do is that we have prayed that God should make a way. Then we start thinking about our auntie that is in America, or the auntie that is in Europe that is going to help you. It means your hope is not in God. Yes, your hope is not in God alone. It means you have prayed and you have already found your solution. You just want God to bless it. God does not work like that. You don't control God. You don't tell God how He's going to answer your prayer. Put your trust in God. The Bible says that curse be unto any man who put their trust in man. That if you put your trust in man, you are cursed. Let me ask you, how can you put your trust in another human being? Do you know we human being, we can fail you? What if your auntie cannot do it? Then you start being frustrated, you start getting angry over people that you don't have to be angry with. They are not your responsibility. Yes, put your trust in God. And sometimes it's very common for us that we have this sense of entitlement. Oh, my auntie is here, he's the one that's going to help me. No, nobody owe you anything. All of us have to put our trust in God, not in man. Even when they don't help you, even when they forsake you, God will help you. Stop putting your trust in man. They are not your responsibility. And you say God will punish them. God will not punish them. God will not ask you to go and put your trust in anybody. Those are the things, right? So he said, put your trust in him alone. Do not waver. For a person with divided loyalty is as unsettled as the wave of the sea that is blown and tossed by the wind. Don't today you believe, the next day you are doubting, one day you are in faith, the next minute you are complaining. Like you are up and down, you are not stable. God said, stand one place, let me bless you. It's either you are believing or you are not believing. Stay in one place. Don't believe today, the next minute you're saying something else. That will hinder you from ever seeing God's blessing. The other verse says, such people should not expect to receive anything from God. You see, what might be your problem? If you are wavering in unbelief, don't expect anything from God. Yes, these are the things that hinder us. We don't put our trust in God alone. Maybe sometimes I want to do something, but we have already planned how that thing is going to be. We just wait for God to bless it. You don't ask God, cause is this thing that I'm doing, is it your way for my life? This business I'm doing, is it what I'm going to do? Is it what you have called me to do? Is that your will for my life? Because another thing that might be hindering us from growing is that sometimes we are doing things that is not aligned with God's destined plan for our life. Maybe your destined plan is to be in business, but you are doing something else, or you are a nurse and you keep struggling that you are not seeing anything, right? Sometimes we should stay back and ask God, this thing that I am doing, is it your will for my life? Because if you are if you are doing something that does not align with God's plan, you keep struggling. There are times that we should only pray, God, bless me, bless me, bless me, bless this my business, bless this. Ask God, this business I'm doing, is it what I'm supposed to do? That might be one of the reasons that we might be struggling. We are doing things that does not align with God's plan, right? Look at the life of Abraham. So Romans chapter 4 verse 18. Even when there was no reason for hope, Abraham kept hoping. Abraham was about 100 years. There was no reason for him to hope. He kept hoping, believing that that he would become the father of many nations. For God has said to him, that's how many descendants you will have. And Abraham's faith did not weaken. Even though at about 100 years of age, he figured his body was good as dead, so was Sarah's womb. He did not waver in unbelief. His faith did not weaken. Is your faith weaken? Is your faith weaken? As days are going by, do you feel discouraged? You may feel discouraged, but you should hold on to hope. Keep believing that God's will come true for your life. As days were going by, his faith grew stronger and stronger. He did not waver in unbelief. He said, as God has said it, it is going to happen for me. He stand firm. You should stand firm. We should stand firm, because I'm talking to myself. He was fully convinced that God is able to do whatever he promised. He said he was fully convinced. And because of Abraham's faith, God counted him as righteous. Listen, God is faithful to his word. The reason why Abraham saw the promise of God come true in his life, because he did not give up. He did not waver in unbelief. He did not consider the deadness of Sarah's home. He did not consider his situation. He did not sit there and start figuring out how old he was, how Sarah was old. No, he did not waver in unbelief, and God counted him as righteous. So I want to encourage you. Watch your word. Don't waver in unbelief. Stand firm in your faith. Sometimes it may be so discouraging. Sometimes you may feel like giving up, but ask God each day to give you the strength not to give up, so that somebody else will hear your story and want to know God. If everybody will stand firm, you will see God's goodness here in the land of the living. That's my prayer each day for my life, that I will see God's goodness here in the land of the living. Some days I feel discouraged, but I will just put a song of praise. I will just worship God and hope will arise. Each time you feel discouraged, go to God in prayer. Just put a song that you like and start praising God, that God has done it already. We stand in the place of victory. God has done everything in the cross. So don't give up. Don't give up. I know it's tough. I know it's so painful. You are not alone. We are all together in this. There are things that I'm still waiting for God to do it for me, and I'm standing firm, right? And I've seen some things that God have done in my life. God can be trusted to keep his word. Please, if you like this video, don't forget to leave a comment to encourage me to continue posting more videos. Don't forget to share. Please share my video. Like, say something, react. It's not easy. Okay, goodbye.